All right, the Yum Boys. Welcome to the Underground Society podcast. First, I gotta ask, what's the story behind your guys' name, and why did you guys decide to go with like Yum? I think it's very interesting.
So yeah, we thought about it at Electric Forest in 20. Let's see, I think it was 2018. We were there together, and it was actually Brian's first festival. And I was like, we had actually just met, and I was like, man, you got to go to a music festival. Like we're already making pretty dope music. You got to get out here and like grab some inspo. Like I was telling him how much inspo I came back after a festival and like hearing other people's music. And so I drove to his house. I said, Brian, get in the car. We're going to Electric Forest. And he came out with literally just a pair of shorts
and like a bag or something.
And I was like, no, man. I was like, you have to go back in there right now, and you have to get like a bag full of stuff. You're gonna want a couple different pairs. Like you're gonna need a lot to survive for this weekend because
yeah,
you're gonna want to be prepared. So pretty much we get there and we're like hanging out. And we still didn't have a name yet. We were already making music for like probably like
it was a couple months.
Yeah, like a couple months after meeting each other. We kept running into each other at shows, and we were with a group of people, and we are just like, you know what, Yum. Like, I forget who said it. It was somebody in the group at Electric Forest. I don't know if it was me or somebody else. I remember everybody talking about it for like the next hour. They're like, dude, that's super catchy. You guys have to go with that. And like,
yeah.
We were just kind of like, you know what? I mean, if this many people like it, maybe some more people will like it. And we kind of just stuck with it. We're like, it might be not, some people, I feel like off the first impression of hearing it, maybe they just like don't even, it's like judging a book by its cover. Maybe they think it's cringe or something. It's kind of just like, oh, if we can make this cool by making cool tunes and people like this, then I don't know. So pretty much it kind of just stuck there at Electric Forest, and ever since then it was like people kind of, since it's two words and it's a duo too, so it's just like people call me Yum and people call him Yum.
Dude, anytime we go to a show and like or any event and one of us isn't there, it's like, well, where's the other Yum?
Yeah, where's the other Yum?
That's pretty funny. So it just kind of works out, and we kind of just stuck with it. And we've been rolling with it ever since. We've actually thought about name changes through and suggested it through Jared, our management. And he kind of was just like, no, you guys cannot change it. You guys already made it kind of a staple. And they've always seemed to kind of be pretty demanding on not changing it, or switching up. It's kind of like if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Like for real, yeah, definitely.
If it's working, you might as well just keep rolling too. And I mean, the branding's pretty easy with it, so yeah,
just tasty treats everywhere. Right? Were there any other names you guys are trying to decide on like during that time?
I had like one name, but
it was Wubsabi.
Wubsabi.
Yeah.
So it's still food related.
Yeah. Brian likes to chef it up, and so do I. When we hang out, that's what we do before we do studio sessions. We cook a lot of food, and so
that's awesome.
And like Yum sauce, I feel like nobody's said no to Yum sauce before. I don't know. I've never met it around here. A lot of people for like hibachi and Japanese, they put it on their rice and stuff around here. I don't know if it's a Midwest.
Oh yeah, the Yum. Yep.
So
I've had it. You mentioned that you guys went to Electric Forest. How far is that from where you guys live? Where are you guys from? I know with the time change and stuff that we had, you guys are on the East Coast, but whereabouts?
Indianapolis.
Yeah. So
okay.
We're about 5 hours from Rothbury too. It's not too bad of a drive. It's always been my favorite festival. I went there in 2014, and it was my first festival. And I walked in there, I knew like seeing the stages and stuff, and just the community of all the people like together. And I was just like, I know I'll come back to this probably for the rest of my life, honestly, from this point on. Yeah. And I instantly started making music when I got back from them too. So it was like a huge like staple in pretty much me getting started.
Yeah. I think I'm going to try and make that happen next year. Have you guys been to Lost Lands?
Yeah.
I talk about this a lot on the show. Yeah, Lost Lands. Did you guys go this past year?
No, I took an RV the first 3 years of Lost Lands, and we set up a sound camp in the
that was fun.
Yeah, out in like the RVs and stuff. And the first year we did it, we were our RV was just like, it's all about the location initially. You never know like what it's going to be. It could be in the very back by nobody, or people don't want to walk, or it could be like up front and it could be really lit. But ours was right outside the sound camp. They put the sound camp in out in the camping that year. It was the only year they did it like that. And yeah, so once everybody rushed out of the sound camps at 3 a.m., our sound camp for our RV was right there, and there's probably 300 or 400 people, just chilling at our RV. It kind of got a little out of hand.
Yeah.
But no, it was always a good time, honestly. That's kind of also how I got into it. I was just like, I bought a bunch of speakers. I actually sold my car. I had an Audi, and I sold my car, and I went to Best Buy, or no, I went to Guitar Center, and I bought like $6,000 worth of speakers and DJ equipment. I was like,
holy shit! Like, nah, I don't need a car.
I didn't even know how music was produced or anything. I just went there and I was like, hey, I want some equipment. I'll try to rent these speakers out. I was always trying to find ways to make money.
That's funny.
On the side or whatever.
That's smart though.
Do with it, I was a young.
Yeah, hustling. So how long ago did you guys actually start your project then? How long have you guys been? When was Yum.Yum?
Forest that year, 2019, I guess.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that long. It seems like really only maybe a year and a half. It seems like we just got started.
Time's been flying.
Even with the podcast, I've been running this. You guys asked me before we started recording, like, how long has this been going on? Yeah, it's 2 years. I'm like, how did this whole year feels like it was just last year? Like, I feel like it's only been like a year. It's like, nope, it's been way longer than that. Time flies, man. Especially when you're like busy and you're trying to play shows and you got contracts and all that stuff like starting to roll and you have management now. Like, yeah, it moves quick.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Were you guys making music prior to starting the duo? Were you guys individually making music?
Yeah, we were. We both had our solo projects, and I heard Brian's songs that he was making. He was actually in
working in GarageBand for a while.
Yeah, working in GarageBand.
Running Serum through there.
Damn.
He was also taking a coding class, and instead of doing his homework, he was learning about sound design and making music.
That's true.
Nice. I feel like you're not the only one that has gone through that process.
I made 3 originals, and I also made a lot of rap beats for my friends because that's kind of like the music I feel like back in the day that a lot of people were trying to do. I don't know, so people would pay me to make beats, and they would rap on them, and it never went anywhere. They were They were trash beats, and at the end of the day, so.
Hey, got your foot in the door. I started learning. When did you guys download Ableton? Or are you guys in Ableton?
Ableton for the last since COVID.
Yeah, so we've been in Ableton for a year or two, and we started out on Logic. We made a lot of songs in GarageBand too. It was crazy.
Can you even does GarageBand accept samples and stuff, or how does that?
You can do samples.
Okay, I didn't know.
But.
So for the plugins and stuff, Brian had it routed somehow. I didn't even know you could do it. He came to my house. He was like, "Look, I have Serum on GarageBand." And I was like, "How in the hell did you do that, dude?"
I don't even
know. We did a one-on-one with Mr. Bill, and he was telling us how, back in the day at festivals, he would be making music with Tipper, and they would use. He was on GarageBand on a Windows 2000 computer and just making whatever he had work. He's like, "If you know what you're doing."
That's wild.
You just make it work. So after he told me that,
and he's
it kind of inspired me.
Mr. Bill's so technically advanced too. His music, he's almost like a producer's producer. It's almost too technical for the normal.
I've heard that before.
Listener. Yeah.
He's crazy with it for sure. But that after hearing, it kind of inspired me to man, you don't need all this equipment. You don't need to go buy every new VST or whatever. You just kind of make with what you're working with. We've been working with just mostly stock Ableton stuff here recently, and just making working with the operator a lot. So, man, it's
nice.
It's been a long journey though. It doesn't seem like 3 years, but then again, you think about it, it's damn, we have been through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we've been.
That's some time, yeah.
Shout out Solace too. We've been traveling all over the country with them. It's been great.
Yeah, traveling around with the Solace boys is nice. Shout out Jackson. Shout out Christian. Shout out Isaac. Uju.
Jared.
Yeah, out of that whole team, I personally only know Jared and Uju. They've been on the show as well, obviously.
Jared.
Jared.
Really good one. Isaac's very well spoken. I feel like we're not as well spoken as Jared. That's why they're on our team.
No, you're good.
You're good. And they usually handle a lot of our business side too, because I feel like that's what they saw in us. They're like, wow, these guys are making pretty dank tunes, and but they're just not. They can't handle the other side of like doing everything at once. We just kind of want to focus on the tunes and like let them handle a lot of the other stuff. Which is, we put like all trust
That's
into
how it
them.
should be, though.
Yeah, we have all
That's
trust
how it
in
should be.
Jared.
You should. That's why you hire people like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Jared's been killing the game.
They're
So
good people.
Yeah, and Jared has connections with X and some big boys.
That man works hard at those festivals.
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll see him.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, have you slept in the past like 48 hours, man? Like, take a break for a little bit.
That's funny. Going back to starting the project, how did you guys meet originally? How did you guys become friends?
Through my friend Sam. It was like in college.
Okay.
And Levi was like DJing at his apartment one night before a show. I was like, what the hell is he playing right now?
Yeah, I was playing a lot of like 140. Like everybody else was playing like heavy dubstep at the time, so I'd feel like I was like I don't know, if one of the only ones doing it at the time in Indy, and I was really just trying to push the culture there and just be like, hey, this is like 140 dubstep. There's like also this type of music, and just kind of like trying to open people's like mind on their music, because I felt like it was so one directional of like just rhythm and like just like the heavy dubstep stuff. So we just kind of wanted to be like unique in our own way, and just kind of like it's some. I feel like we've always liked like the old deep dubstep, like Mala and all those guys, Scream, like the OGs that came into it.
OGs.
So that we always like grew up listening to those guys. So
For sure.
But yeah, so he always heard that, and he knew that's what the stuff that he was making too. And
Levi was talking to me about LFO Tool at that show that night, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, we were running into each other like a couple shows. Like we had a Blunts and Blondes show, and
that was that same show.
Was it that same show?
Yeah, that first night, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the first time we met then. It was at a Blunts and Blondes show. We just kind of ran and had a conversation about producing, and I didn't know very many people at all, because like I'm from a very small town like south of Indianapolis, and I didn't know anybody that produced music like this or anything. I was kind of like the only one in my town, so I just had to really branch out from like other suburbs around Indianapolis and link up with people and try to make music.
I didn't know anybody in my town that was making music like that either, so it was cool.
Yeah, it was kind of, you run into somebody and say, let's see what we can do. So we kicked it off pretty quick, honestly. Like I said, we made that tune, and then I moved into a new house pretty right after that and built a studio. And I called Brian. I was like, hey, man, like I was bugging him, I think. I was like, hey, man, you want to cook up like 3 times a week at the time? And then Brian ended up moving in with me.
That was the house that got robbed too.
And so we moved in, and we were making music probably like a little bit too much, honestly. Yeah. We were staying up way too late and going to work the next morning like so tired. And I don't know, it's all about balance, really. I feel like this stuff's really hard to balance. And whenever you come, it's like at first, whenever all this is getting put on your plate, you're just like, oh man, I feel like I should keep having to make music, but it's like it's really not like that. As long as you like use your time wisely and be productive with your time and start to really find out, like time management, stuff like that. But yeah, that took a while to get dialed into, I feel like, because like I said, we were pretty new to all this, and like being a duo too, especially like. But yeah, then Isaac, we were kind of just getting to be friends with Isaac around that time too. So we were like starting this project while also meeting Isaac, and he was throwing shows around here. And, me and Brian were going to his shows and like supporting Isaac from the beginning. Like he put out like maybe 1 or 2 songs at that time. And I was like, man, this is like some next level stuff though. Like, even though you only have like 1 or 2 tunes, these are like really killer, man. Like I see a lot of potential in you. And I always told him that at the shows. So we lived together at that time. Like I said, we were making tons of music, tons and tons. We were never finishing anything, but we were making like tons of stuff that was like at least playable, and it was like at least one good drop. And we were like, we put out an all original mix around that time. We kind of just were throwing together like 1 drops into like a 30-minute original mix. I don't think anybody was really doing too much of that around Indy at the time. There is now though. Indy is definitely grown into be a pretty talented city here. A lot of people are putting on good music.
Why did you guys decide to create a duo instead of stay 2 individual solo projects?
I thought it was more fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Music was always made in groups, especially like, like in bands and stuff. Like everybody's project, and
Mm-hmm.
also like other groups of people like that did duos, like Easy Baked. I was a big fan of Easy Baked. When I first started into this stuff, I was like, man, the energy together when
Very
you have two
similar
people
music.
on stage. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know. When I DJ'd a lot by myself, I kind of felt like I was like up there by myself. I felt like everybody was looking at me. But with Brian up there, I can be like, okay, I got somebody here with me.
With the duo, is there like because I know like with Zed's Dead, there's a couple other people that are duos that's like, oh, Barely Live's a good example too. Barely Live is, not a lot of people know this, but is two people. One of the guys is, so, stays home, has his own career and everything outside of the music industry, but he does a lot of the producing. Where I think his name is Will, the face of it, actually goes out and does all the touring and stuff. Do you guys have separate roles like that, where like one person focuses on more on the producing and one focuses more on like the like whatever else comes with it, the A&R, or, the mixing stuff like that? Is one person more the face for you guys?
I would say that in the beginning, for DJing, Brian was having to pick up a little bit more because he wasn't really DJing; he was just making music at the time. So like
Sure.
DJing is pretty easy to pick up, and he's. I mean, now
Mm-hmm.
now we could just roll. Like DJing is nothing to us. Like the only thing we're really kind of worried about is like just making,
Yeah.
but getting better at production. Um, but yeah, definitely in the beginning, it was kind of like like trying to figure out each other's chemistry and stuff, and kind of how each other worked, and kind of he saw how I mixed a lot. Like the first couple shows we played, I threw him right into it because I already knew a lot of people in the scene, so I just started getting us booked right off the bat, and like anywhere I could, like
Mm-hmm.
we were playing for free everywhere around Indianapolis. So yeah, Brian, I would say for production, he's a huge key because he starts out the songs. He's really good at getting this song started, like a really good idea and the structure of like we call it like the skeleton,
Right.
like pretty much just like the bass layer, like the drums and a good couple solid bass lines. He's really good at just writing ideas and just coming up with stuff off his head.
Just flowing.
It's that hair, man.
Right off the breeze.
The flow
Yeah.
comes with the flow,
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that like after Brian, he'll like make a bunch of MIDI notes, and then I'll come back and like convert it all into audio and just kind of like mess with the flows and like maybe make the drums more spicy or something. I always put a little bit of touch on it
Mhm.
for sure. And
Yeah.
every song we release, we both have had hands on, and then yeah, and then Brian,
That's dope.
he's rolling with the DJing now. Like the last show we just played this past weekend, it was a 360 boiler room vibe, and we were both just on the decks, just
Oh,
ripping
sick.
it. So it felt good. It
Just
felt
ripping.
yeah, it felt good.
Nice. Yeah, I've actually never been to like a
They're
boiler
fun.
room set. Surprisingly, I don't even know where. Yeah, I've seen videos and they seem amazing.
Yeah,
But
um,
and then I think who was it? I think it was Peekaboo just played like in the round on like a big arena, which is kind of a boiler room, but like
No, that's awesome.
stadium
yeah, that
size.
was
Yeah.
that was level 50 vibes for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
That was insane what he did with that. But he's putting on the underground. Big up to Peekaboo though, for
yeah.
real.
That
He
was
just
wild.
he played one of our homie Arc Zen. Shout out Noah. He's from Columbus. He just put him in his new mix, and I was really shocked about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
That
I
was
was
sick.
like, man, he's just putting on the underground so hard right now, and
Nice.
it's cool to see.
That's super cool. Yeah, he's finally got to that point where like, okay, now I'm popping. People know who I am, and now like, I feel like you get to a certain point, and the bigger guys get to a certain point, and they're like, all right, let's try and help like the
Right.
next generation now.
Yeah, man,
Try and bring
we
people
love
up.
to see that type of shit
Um,
because like
I,
he's looking past the followers and stuff because he just started. He was in a duo called Loveverse, and
yeah.
he just switched to his single project, so he only has like a couple hundred followers, if that. But it's cool that Peekaboo's like searching
Mhm.
out to look past that, and if the music's good, the music's good, and we love to see that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
dude.
So
I wanted to ask you guys too, because you guys are a duo, and you guys, I'm sure, they're like best friends at this point now too, because you guys work closely together, and you guys are working on music and hang out a bunch, obviously for that reason. But just like any other relationship, not everything's gonna go perfectly. How do you get? Have you guys gotten into like any arguments and stuff like that since you guys
oh yeah,
been
of
a
course, it's
duo
like a
and
brotherhood,
working
man.
together?
He's like my brother.
Yeah.
It's all tough love at the end of the day, and if anything, it's like we're just trying to make each other better. If it is like I'll give them crap
Yeah.
here and just joke around with them, and like it might be 50% serious, it might be 50% a joke, but like it might just push them to motivate them to like finish a track or something, if whatever it's
Mhm.
about. Yeah, so
even in jokes that are like it like has some like harsh truth to it. It's like there's still like that
We're
element to it. It's
definitely
like,
tough.
yeah, I am joking, but like, come on, bro.
We're definitely tough on Brian too. Sometimes, like, yeah, I'll just give him crap, and I'll be like, "Oh man, it's just all love, man." Nothing. But yeah, we push each other, and I think that's it's a good thing to have, like that type of like that push
Oh
to
yeah.
really like level up, honestly, because I could just like
Hmm.
he could let me slack, and I just feel like it's a good element. Two brains are better than one, and we've always thought that with the duo too. And
Yeah.
there is tough. There's definitely sides to it that are I don't know. I wouldn't say bad. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say they're not. I wouldn't say they're bad, but it's just like something that you have to. It's different.
Um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
most issues stem from the communication, I think,
Yeah,
at the end
yeah.
of the day.
For sure. We're really both bad at
Dude,
communication.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Communication is key for any relationship, working, whether it's work, whether
yeah,
it's romantic, whether it's like your best friends. Communication is major key. I think that's like honestly like that, and being honest and truthful is like the recipe to have a good
agreed.
relationship with anyone. So, have you guys ever gotten to the point where like, or do you think it'll ever get to the point of, um, but I've seen, I don't know if you guys know who like Bonnie and Clyde are, but they went through a time, they're just now getting back and releasing music again, but they went through a time where, they have separate romantic relationship outside of them, but their working relationship as Bonnie and Clyde, they almost like stopped. And I've seen a lot of bands or, duos or, partnerships break up in the music industry because of arguments, because of the relationships, because they didn't want to treat each other like that anymore. Do you guys ever see yourself getting to that point of like needing to separate or anything like
I
that? Like,
don't see Yum ever dying. We're
good,
both so
good.
chill that like I've never seen Brian
Um,
mad, and I don't think he's ever actually seen me mad. Like he's seen me stressed out, and he's seen me in like okay,
Yeah,
cool before, but it's not like I'm ever taking anger out on him or
yeah.
anything. It's
I
never
don't know.
like the intentions of like that. It's just like I said, if we have gotten scrambles, it's just because of just messing with each other really. And yeah, it's just like a brother
Hmm.
thing. Like I said, it's a brotherhood at the end of the day, and I don't think I ever see Yum
That's
dying.
good.
Maybe going if we did ever do anything, maybe solo projects. But I mean, we have enough on our plate with the Yum project. I could never see myself adding anything else. What I have with
Yeah.
working a full time job and also doing the music on the side and trying to it's pick them up every year.
Do you think if you ever get to that like the pro leagues where like there's a lot on the line and certain things or conversations or arguments happen, do you think at that point things might look a little differently? Your answer might
We
look a
we
little different.
separate the business and the friendship pretty well too. Yeah, we're pretty
Good.
well at separating that because
Good.
with like money we've lost tons of money. We have so much passion in this. It's not about the money. We know every time going to play a show, we
Yeah.
know that like there's very well that they could lose money and not pay us and go bankrupt. That happened to us a couple times this year. So you just never know what's going to happen. We never
Yep.
go play a show if it's going to like break the bank. Like if it's going to put us on the streets, our bills are always paid first. That's what our full time job covers, and we reinvest any profits we do make into Yum with artwork and stuff like that. So yeah, we really haven't profited too much. It's all for passion. We're really just trying to get our tunes out here on big systems.
That's awesome.
We
Also live
did live
together,
together.
right?
It was on my birthday actually. We went and I think we were eating at the old spaghetti factory. Some guy came knocking on the door. Brian was there, and we were at work that same morning. I guess he was like being fishy or whatever.
He was trying to borrow. He said he was trying to borrow a lawnmower, but I think this guy was trying to break in, and I just happened to be there. So he
Yeah.
like made a story.
So I don't know if it
Oh
was that guy,
shit.
but pretty much, yeah, we came back and everything was gone. Our computers and like everything was ransacked. All of our TVs, all the electronics, everything was
Oh.
flipped and everything. So after that, we lost all of our music. We didn't have anything backed up. Anything we had was on SoundCloud, and I think we only had like a couple songs. Like, everything was pretty much on the computers at that time, and that was all honestly a big
Hmm.
lesson for us too of like backing up stuff. We're still kind of bad at it, but we have
Get
like
a
Yeah.
portable hard drive
yeah. Quick reminder right now if you're watching this.
for sure.
Yeah, or
Um,
with the cloud too, or double back them up. Do put some on the cloud, or put them on the cloud, and then also put them on an
But
external
but
hard drive
around
you
that
can take
time
with
we
you
did
too.
after we got robbed,
Yeah.
we didn't know what we were gonna do because like I had to instantly get out of the house and pay a bunch of fees because I was like I'm not gonna live here anymore. I feel safe, So
Yeah.
I was like I moved back in with my dad at the time, and we started a GoFundMe. And shout out anybody that donated the GoFundMe too because that was Rick No actually retweeted on
Oh,
Twitter.
that's dope.
Like I think we raised like $1,500, and
Huge
it actually
support from the community.
yeah it actually
wholesome.
rebuilt our computer that we're using still to this day. And
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna ask, how much money do you guys think that you guys had in
it was
gear
probably a
that
good
got stolen?
4,000. I think we ended up.
Probably.
Yeah, it was all of our TVs and Xboxes.
The most
and,
messed up thing was they gifted it to their kids because Levi tracked his laptop to the house like 2 houses down, and they had a happy birthday sign in their front window. And then their
Oh my
kid
gosh.
came over the other day to like the day after to get the dog that got out in the backyard, and I asked the kid if they had gotten like an Xbox and a TV for their birthday, and the kid said, "Yeah." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
we
they were
did.
Straight up.
Holy
Yeah, it was our
shit,
neighbors,
that
and like
sucks.
we even had people that came over and they went and knocked on the door for us. It was like some two bigger guys that were in a motorcycle gang that my mom knew. They were like, "Hey," they were like determined. They were like, "We will get this stuff back for you." And so I was like, "All right. I mean, you guys can do it. I'm not going to do it because I knew they were a little bit on the sketchy side."
Yeah.
But they went over there and they came right back. They're like, "You are not getting your stuff back. Sorry about you," because they went over and saw the conditions of it, and it was pretty bad. But it was a blessing in disguise, honestly,
Oh my
because like I
gosh.
said, we got out of a kind of a sketchier area, and yeah, the GoFundMe, everybody helped us out. Honestly, that was a huge blessing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Ragno actually
That's
retweeted
awesome.
it, and a bunch of people like from all over were just donating like $5 and $10, and it was a lot of homies like Masta. He donated $300. Shout out Masta.
For sure.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that because we were like, man, we didn't know anybody knew who we were. Like, we were probably gonna be done at that point because we had invested
Yeah, that's
everything
crazy.
already.
Yeah.
Like, I took out a loan to get that computer that got stolen, so I was still paying on a
Oh
computer
my
I didn't
gosh.
have, and it was just like, it was kind of a crappy situation. But we ended up getting Brian's computer that
Yeah.
he's using now, and it's been making beats ever since. We've made every tune on it since. So,
Sweet. Yeah, I was gonna ask how long you guys, when you guys finally were able to replenish everything that you guys lost, how long did that take? But obviously, the GoFundMe helped a lot, so that's
it did,
awesome.
honestly. Yeah, that helped out a lot, and there was I actually Lexus, my girlfriend's stepdad, helped me build a PC too as well. Right after that,
Okay.
so that helped out a ton too. He's like he
Cool.
has a bunch of spare computer parts laying around, so he just like, "Hey man, I'll build you this," because he kind of felt bad.
Okay.
Dude, right on, because that also helps. So now we both have a PC, and yeah, I say we always have a project up, working on it, sending back and forth, even if
Nice.
we're not together.
Did the police ever find the people? Like, were you guys ever like able to like actually confirm it? Like, what happened with that?
So we had a handprint and everything,
Yeah,
and we had a
fingerprints.
GPS
What?
for both of our laptops, and they said it wasn't enough evidence, and they came and got the prints like 3 days later. They weren't even in a hurry. It was like COVID was going on when we called them at first. When we first walked in the door, they were like, I called the cops. They're like, we can't even send a cop there and sit in the car because of COVID. And I was like, well, you guys can't even send a guy because like I thought they were going to come back or something. They had a pile of stuff that they hadn't grabbed yet, and I thought they were still going to come back. And I was honestly just really scared and in shock. And I was like, I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So,
Can't even get
crazy
police
times.
help. That's
It was crazy
bullshit.
times.
What the heck?
Yeah. I think my laptop
Dang, man.
ended up like getting owned by like a gang, and there were like 20 people sitting outside of the house. So I don't think the cop was trying to get shot over a laptop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That right after that, it kind of that we also it's always about adjusting to your circumstances, like and like the
Yep.
situation because like right after that, Brian, I think you had to move back in with your mom.
Yeah, I moved home
Yeah, I had to
for a
move,
little bit.
I had to move back in with my dad, and so we were like living like 45 minutes from each other after that, and we were so used to making all the time, so
Yeah.
we get adjusted to like kind of a new workflow, and that's kind of like the same workflow that we're in now since we still live apart, but we hang out a lot still in person now.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
just kind of like
That's good.
we live a lot closer as of now.
we're
But
cooking up like at least once a week. So
yeah, once or twice a week as of right
Nice.
now with a full-time job.
Very nice. Yeah, that's rough. I can't even at least like file a report or something. Like they do
It was a
something.
pretty bad area, and like I said, the pandemic really
Yeah.
messed it up because it was like the week they shut everything down. I think right around the time. It was
Okay.
pretty close. Like everybody was scared to even leave the house. I think we
Yeah,
had curfew
at
and
least there
everything around
worries.
that time.
Mm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Was there a brief period of time where you guys weren't producing because of that?
There was patches for sure. Yeah, there was a lot of big
Okay.
patches that we'd go on spells, and you know, I don't. We've never gone too long. We've always been like making music. Like I said, we always make music, like at each other, like even when we're alone. Like
Yeah,
Brian's always
Yeah.
cooking up.
for sure.
Brian makes tons of music. He'll make 5 tracks a week sometimes.
Holy shit.
Not gonna
Brian,
lie.
Brian,
I have.
Brian does.
Damn.
It comes in waves, you know. Sometimes if you try to force it, that's not the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
And just some weeks it just comes naturally, and you can just crank at it, you know, a bunch of ideas. Or like the other night, we sat in the studio for like 10 hours, and we couldn't even come up with like one good sound at all. So it's just
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
it's
We
just one of
made
those things. It's hit or miss.
Yeah. I feel like everyone kind of goes through that though.
Mm-hmm.
Like they kind of go through periods of time where they're like they feel motivated, and then other periods of time where it's just like nothing's working.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's like stuff like that. There's ways to work around it too. Like just coming in, like if you like in situations like that, we'll try to just go on tunes that we've already made. Try to just like work on polishing them up or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and or do mastering stuff, or just work on mix down stuff, or sound design
Yeah.
sessions, or just try to get something rolling. Try to break the ice a little bit, because if you go down the rabbit hole too much, then I feel like you're just pushing yourself towards a bad path.
How did you guys feel unmotivated at all after that? Like after that happened, and you got your place broken into and stuff. Like, was there
I
ever like
was
a
more
thought of
motivated.
like maybe this is it for
Well,
us?
at first, right off the initial bat, for like
Yeah.
the
Well,
first
yeah.
24 hours, I was like, oh my God, like this is it. Like this is the end of the Yum.Yum project. Like I said, it took me years to even build up everything I had at that point,
Right.
and I was still didn't have everything. Like, but
After that GoFundMe thing and just seeing the support of everybody, like wanting us to continue the project, I just felt
yeah, and after
we
realizing everything
couldn't stop.
that we were getting out of a bad area too, like we heard
Yeah.
gunshots probably once or twice a day.
It was
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it was a pretty
not
bad
a good
area.
area.
No, thank you.
Very cheap though. It was a nice
That's
house. So
rough.
it was one of those things like like $600 a month, but it was a 2 bedroom house with a fenced-in yard and stuff, and it was pretty
Yeah.
decent. And like I said, all I needed was a studio to make music, and yeah, and I'm still younger and going through it and trying to figure
Yeah.
everything out with living situations and stuff. It was just adjusting. Like I said, that's a huge thing with being a producer, is just kind of evolving into yeah, just stuff's always changing. There's always new plugins, always new stuff to learn that's bigger and better.
One of the things that I can relate to with that too is not even, talking about plugins and like things changing like just with that, but like even just like with like trying to run social medias and like trying to run, Instagram's constantly changing their algorithms. So it's like always like every year, every 6 months, everything's like updated. It's like you gotta like with an industry being in an industry like this, you gotta like keep up with it.
Same thing with your phone update too. It's like
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
want to change it around, it's like, oh man, I was just getting used to it and liking it. Now I don't like it.
Yeah, right. Drop the iPhone 14. What is this? This is a whole new platform. Yeah.
Is this thing? We're going back in time.
Right? Gonna go back to the rotary phones and make everything easier. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for telling that story. Do you guys have any advice for people who I mean that's kind of a different story. I don't think too many people can relate with that, hopefully. But
Yeah.
if someone was in your were to be in your situation someday, what are some of the things that you took away from that experience that you want to share to potentially someone who might be in that position someday?
Yeah, just never give up, because I mean, there was like it felt like we hit rock bottom
Yeah.
at a point where it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, like
You could have
we don't know.
very easily given up.
Yeah, there was it was kind of like one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like, man, this is almost not even worth to restart everything and try to get all new equipment until, like I said, the GoFundMe came through, and that really
Right.
gave us more motivation to be like, okay, people actually want to see us do this. And there's
Yeah.
people out there that actually, like the music that we have put out. And even though it wasn't that much, people still saw the potential in us. And I think that really gave us the
Mm-hmm.
drive to get back at it. And we started really ramping up, going to shows and catching inspiration from like Bass Nectar. We went to the 360 show in
That
Louisville.
was crazy.
And I think Brian made like 4 tracks in like 2 days that weekend. And in the hotel, and like he was making music in the Uber. Like,
GarageBand on the phone.
You could not pull him off the computer, but like, and like every 10 minutes he'd be like, "Dude, check this out, man. I added this," and and I would just be like, "Oh, you should switch this around here," and it's just we're just feeding off each other, so it's cool.
Man, talking about, you just said GarageBand on the phone. Ableton just finally released an app. Yeah. It's crazy. What do you guys think? Have you guys downloaded it at all?
Is it free?
Yeah,
I'm curious. I have no idea. I don't know.
And it's pretty cool actually. It's like one of those things if you're just like on a train or on a plane or something, and you just want to make a beat or something. I don't know. It is pretty cool though. It's pretty neat.
Are you able to use like plugins and like Serum and stuff like that
it's
too?
a very basic layout, almost like GarageBand, but
okay.
An Ableton sticker on it. That's kind of what it reminds me of. There is a little bit of sounds and stuff in there, like little simple. Like I guess that's one thing that I was kind of telling my girlfriend. I was like, this is kind of a cool tool. You can just play around and see how sound design works and like open filters and stuff like that. And it's kind of puts the same knowledge when you hop in the DAW.
I have
a
couple times. Just made sounds on the phone on a synth.
I think you can hook it up to your computer though, so like maybe if you make a sound on your phone, you can throw it into your computer. I don't know, but I haven't.
I was gonna say, can you import? Can you like record like do like a voice recording and then import that?
I don't think so yet. I'm sure they'll come with updates on it though. I was looking at that. I don't think you can yet. I don't think you can even add in samples yet. It's not that
interesting.
I think they'll update it and make it better to where you can do stuff like that. Because I think people are already thinking, like that was my first thought, and that was obviously your first thought. So that's probably what they're for sure. Because that was the first thing I looked at. Like, can you load in samples and actually like make a full tune in here? Because I might just start producing on my phone. I'm
gonna clip this and email it to Ableton. We want to see it. Come on, guys. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna start wrapping up because we're getting to the time now. But I do want to get into some of the upcoming stuff that you guys have planned for the end of this year and into next. I know you this year you played both Interstellar and Soundhaven. Did you guys ever play any other major festivals this year? Or those the two that you guys
Love and Dub in North Carolina. We played.
That's right. Okay.
We played a lot.
Played like
we've played
Geek Out Fest.
We played the Beyond the Void. It was like here in Indiana, and they had 2 really really good rigs. Shout out Martian Gang that throws that too, because it was really cool. They're really trying to push like the underground bass scene here, and they brought out the Element 5 rig and let us play on that. So that was a really cool experience.
Nice.
One of my favorite rigs now, the Element 5 rig. I don't know if you've to hear that yet or not.
I haven't heard it, but I've seen them advertise for it, and it looks sick. So
it's insane, man. It's one of the most crisp, loudest speaker rig I've ever heard.
That's dope.
And
that's awesome. Have you guys played on PKs?
Yes, we have. Yeah, we played on PKs.
So even comparative to PKs, I've heard PKs are just, I mean, even listening to them when you're in the audience, but even compared to PKs, it's still better.
100%.
That's good to hear.
These are the craziest speakers I've ever heard in my life, man. I'm telling you. It's hard for me to say that too, because like that's a bold statement coming from me, because usually I'm like I can always pick something out, but there was like every frequency was really dialed in on those, and it's one of the best sounding rigs. If you ever have the chance to hear it, you should for sure.
I'm sure eventually I will. From those 2 festivals, do you guys have any more lined up for the rest of the year?
The rest of the year,
anything looking at next year?
Trying to throw shows with a friend around here and like really curate the lineup.
Okay.
So just like I said, that 360 Boiler Room, we helped curate that lineup with Chef Boyer Beats, and we had C come in. We had Mad Salvi come in and do MC our set.
That's rare these days too. That's hella cool.
Yeah, we've been doing that a lot. So like he'll have us come DJ his sets when he gets booked. And we'll bring him on to our sets too, and we'll throw in a couple of his songs, and it gives him a chance to have another gig too. And he's one of our good friends, so I like to do it for him. I like to put on the homies. Like
help him out.
Anytime a friend is at the show and wants to go back to back for the last 15 minutes, I always am open to, having them come up and throw down with us. So we've always been real big
Mm-hmm.
about putting our friends on any way we can. If we get any chance we can, we really like to put our friends on. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
like I said, we're gonna try to start working that in for the next year. Try to start working that into the contract and add more of a live element to our sets. And
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
see where that goes because we like I've always came up on rap like I said earlier, and I've always liked the rap element. Like he gets the crowd involved. He'll stand on top of the speakers and tell everybody to
Mm-hmm.
jump or bounce or whatever. So shout out Matt
You're
Seven,
like,
man.
you take care of that. You take care of the crowd work. I'll stay behind the decks and do this.
Yeah, because we don't like talking on the mic really, anyways. So it kind of works out when he's at our
Yeah,
he
yeah,
can kind of do all that. But yeah,
yeah.
it works out. I know there's been some booking
Okay,
offers that have been coming in for the end of the year and early next year, but I don't think anything's officially locked in. And we're just
perfect. Yeah.
kind of working on just throwing our own shows and around here and then wherever we get booked or whatever. But we do have, let's see, a tune coming out on Visionary Labs in December. I think we just got that locked in, and yeah, they're
Awesome.
a really dope label that hit us up and want to release a tune. I've been wanting to release on them for a while. We just have never had a song that I feel like fit for them. But and then we'll see. We've been doing a lot of self releases this year and just trying to build up our page. So,
That's what I've heard. I've heard that, like, I mean, obviously, like with a label and stuff, and signing songs to labels, it does help with like the traction of the song, and it helps with like getting you new listeners and stuff like that. But I've also heard on the flip side that, like, if you self-release a lot of your music, it's actually a better way to grow more of like a fan, like a core fan base.
yeah, it
So that's
almost
smart
feels
that you
more
guys are doing
natural
that.
because
Yeah,
you see a lot of the same people commenting and stuff too. So
yeah,
it's cool. I like really, I don't know. A lot of our label releases have done pretty well though. So it's really, it's one of those things. It's
yeah.
just trying to anybody. We want to work with all the homies. Like if we feel like anybody's trying to do good, we'll want to work with them. And we're just, trying to push the culture here in Indianapolis and the more deep dubstep scene. And yeah,
That's
really bring
awesome.
that up because I feel like just like I don't know. I feel like it was lacking that like there was not a lot of people. There was a lot of people listening to it, but there wasn't a lot of shows that people were putting on. The people
Yeah.
I was listening to, other than like Isaac, of course, or like people that were really close that were listening to stuff.
That's smart that you guys are starting to throw events then, so someone's doing it
Yep,
now.
yep. We're trying to just step in, man. It's so fun creating like an experience and memories for people too. And like after the shows, people tell you how good of
Yeah.
a time they had. And it's like, man, I might have lost a little bit of money, but hey, everybody had a great time. Like,
Yeah.
got to bring in a big rig, and everybody got to share their music, and it's all about like pushing the art. So
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it costs a little bit of money. I mean, in the early days, it's going to cost us some money to be able to do certain things. But I mean, shit, even at the big levels, look at Excision. He's spending probably millions of dollars on all the festivals that he's throwing and all the shows and stuff that he's throwing. So it's like you never really stop spending money. It's just how much can you get how much can your ROI get? How much can you get return on your investment?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, it was good talking to you.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for sharing your project and kind of you guys come up. As we wrap up, where can the listeners find you? Where can they support
Yeah,
you?
we're on Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud.
I just yum.yum.
So last question. I normally ask this question to individuals, but for the sake of this one, since there's two of you, I'm going to ask kind of individually. What is one piece of advice that you would tell yourself when you first started making music?
I would say that um, just to not look I don't know, look past the drama, especially if you're talking about like with the
That's a good one.
Yeah.
music industry. Like there's a lot of like drama and stuff that goes off on the side, and it's really hard to kind of like there's been stuff that I feel like I've been caught up in, and I'm just like just I don't know, look past that type stuff with people, and that would be my advice.
My advice, I think, would be you definitely gonna make poopy music sometimes. Don't let it beat you up.